Hey guys, back with another episode of the 1% Club and Vigor Warriors 2. And I want to appreciate all the comments and ideas and people you guys have given me to kind of focus on. And please go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, and donate if you feel like it is important. We just kind of focused on one that a trillionaire gave me with closer to God. Now I want to focus on one that Chimbu sent me, and I hope I get the name right. If I didn't, please let me know. And you're sending me one that's a very interesting one, and to be honest with you, is a tricky one. And I'm not going to probably give you a sure answer, but let me kind of talk about this one a little bit because I think it is a really important one, especially as you guys find your partners and you decide to get married and have children and things like that. So the question that Chimbu had was about this fact is, do you break your streak if you're edging with your wife now or your husband? So let's look at this for a second. So Chimbu, you have a perplexing question here, and I like the question a lot, but I don't know if I'm going to totally be able to answer this, and so I'm going to kind of give a discretionary type of thing here, saying that I could be totally wrong, but let me give you my opinion based on what I feel. So there's a number of things to look at here. The first thing to look at is the whole concept of edging. So if you get excited about something, is that edging? Now I'm in monk mode right now, so I'm not even getting excited about things. But if you get excited, is that the first step to edging? Edging can be the actual act itself. So if you're with your wife or husband doing it, are you edging unless you release? Is that what they call edging? I guess that's a definition we have to kind of look at. Because edging itself should mean that you're almost ready to release, but you haven't. And certainly you can do that by, looking at images and porn and do all that kind of stuff. And so you can edge by yourself, but that's something we're obviously not recommending because we want to stay away from releasing. And even now, and I think someone had said this to me, and I can't remember who it was, but that edging is something that you lose energy with. And I didn't really think that was the case, but I believe that's the case now, and that's why I've gone to monk mode, where I'm not even in that category where I even think about it. Now, do things happen around me? Yes, I do have a high sexual energy, so something tracks me, then I get that stirring feeling, and I have to kind of move to something else and try to control it, so I don't get to the point where I'm even thinking about it. So that's high monk mode right now. So edging is the first issue here. So Chimbu, what is edging? I guess that's the question. So edging is a case where if you're actually almost releasing, that to me would be edging. Now let's look at the second issue of this, and that's really the whole idea of having intercourse with your wife or husband. Now, I believe God has put us in a realm where we're made to have children, to create offspring, to create more of a generation, and have more of a offspring generation later on. So one of the things that's important for that to happen is that a wife and a husband will have children. It's okay to procreate. So under those conditions, I don't believe there's anything wrong with releasing. Almost like wet dreams, you have no control over that. I don't believe that's part of the streak. I think I had mentioned that in an earlier video called Nightfall, if you want to go back and look at that one. But the idea was I don't believe that's against your streak. So when I say that, Chimbu, when I'm talking about that, so when you actually have intercourse, and I've had 3 children, so obviously there's been a number of times that we've had to, have intercourse in order to have those 3 children. Now, did we succeed? And was it only 3 times, and all of a sudden we had 3 children? No. So that means that I was releasing a bunch of different times, before we had those children. So that to me is not a problem. That to me is okay, because your purpose is to procreate. And I think when you're with your wife or husband, you're always in the back of the mind trying to procreate. That's kind of why they're there. Now, whether the woman can have children anymore or not, you're still in that type of mode. So in my mind, that is not something that's going to go against your streak, because this is really more of a lifestyle change. And so it does get a little cloudy here because I understand what you're saying to me. Because what you're saying is that you can still edge and you can still release, and that should go against your streak. But let's talk about the streak and the difference between the streak and the lifestyle change. I think one of the reasons why I relapsed a lot was because I was more worried about the numbers and the streak. It really is more of a lifestyle change, gang. And when you realize that, it's not really something that's going to take you off your course if you go ahead and have intercourse with your wife. Especially if you've been married a lot of years, that's not something I think is going to hurt you a great deal. You can go back the next day and start your streak and whatever you want to do again. But see, it's not really a streak. It becomes a lifestyle change. And all of a sudden now the rest of your life, unless you have your wife or husband in front of you, you're basically going to just go ahead and retain. And that is a whole different mentality. And I guess I'm in that state right now where if I had my wife come in and say, okay, let's go ahead and make love, well then I'm not gonna, I may or may not count that at all. If I count it, I'll just start again. But the bottom line really is that it's not something that's going to lead you back into the problems. The biggest thing you want to do is go back into the problems you had. And that's why we do these streaks to start with. But at a certain point in time, the streak is going to be so long. And I'm getting to that point now where I'm not even thinking about it. And so therefore, if it does happen, it happens. If it doesn't, well, then you're going to continue going onward. So I would not necessarily, almost like I would say you shouldn't be doing retention to attract women. You're going to attract women like the flocks. I mean, I had a bunch again today. You're going to attract them like flocks, but your goal is not to do retention for that. Your goal in retention is to change your life and in my mind, get closer to your spiritual side of you. And because of that, you're basically going to hold your energy in except for that one God-given person who would be your wife or husband. And that's a whole different type of matter. And so in my mind, I suppose, Chimbu, you could count it against your streak. I understand what you're saying, and you make a valid point. However, if you're looking at this as a lifestyle change, I don't necessarily think that you should count it against you, because if you do that, you may end up then hurting your motivation. Now, you're the one knowing the streak. You're the one who honestly knows how long you've gone. And so it's more of a sake of, do you have control over this situation or not? Can you say, okay, I did have, intercourse with my wife. I made love with my wife, and now I'm back again, okay? But it's not affecting me at all. And I guess that's the whole key to the situation. Before I got married, on these streaks and things that I had, I basically felt very guilty after I released. That's telling you that was wrong. If you are making love to your wife or husband and you don't feel bad at all about this, your inner voice is telling you that this is what you were made for. You're made to have children, or even if you don't have a child during that session, that's the person you're with. So, Chimbu, I appreciate the question. You actually have stumped me a lot on this one, and I guess I'm going to kind of keep evolving in my thought pattern on this. But I think certainly as you go through this, the key is going to be to say, okay, have I been able to change my lifestyle to reflect this positive type of nature to change and better my life? And if I bettered my life, then I'm going to include retention as the foundation of that. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not going to enjoy spending time with my wife and husband and being intimate with them and being able to kind of live that life and benefit from them. It's a whole different matter if you're sitting there and losing energy with you're married, you're losing energy with pictures and all kinds of stuff like that, or having affairs or things like that. That's a whole different matter. I think that's really a self-destructive nature doing that. Okay. All right. So Chimbu, you got me on this one, but I wanted to kind of post this, and if you guys have comments and things you want to say about it, please do. You probably have better insights. Some of you guys are married. You guys have better insights than I do on this one. and maybe you're probably more correct than I am. But I wanted to kind of state this out there because it's a question, and I like to try to answer them the best I can as they come through. So, Chimbu, I hope this helped. I hope I didn't confuse you more. And until next time, guys, battle on.